Today, we look at the mind, body, spirit health connections. We have covered extensively in small segments the mind, body, and spirit as it relates to human existence and well being. Today, we want to look just a little bit deeper as we look at what health means and how our health is tied to our mind, our body, and our spirit working together in harmony. So, the World Health Organization's definition of health is that health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well being. That connects very closely to the makeup of human beings. Yes, we are mind, body, and spirit. And so when we look at that definition, we see that those three elements are tied into health and well being. So, in order for us to get a very good grasp of this connection, I want to throw a few words out at you. And so, if you don't have your pencil or pen and a piece of paper, I suggest that you hurry and get a piece because, as with the previous segments, we are looking at coming to our own conclusions on the information that is presented here in this 12-part series. So as you get your paper, I just want to encourage those of you who are listening for the first time to go back and look at the preceding segments, because what I did or attempted to do was to build on the minor aspects of our human existence to help us to clearly understand the importance of us establishing balance if we do truly desire to lead a healthy, happy, and productive life. Because in segment 3, I think it was, we talked about purpose. And then we also talked about worthiness. These are critical elements in our belief system that will help us to better steer our path in one direction or the other. But above all, what it does, it places us to the point of full awareness that our lives, our health, our happiness is not dependent on external factors, but on internal factors. So we would have covered in the discussions how we enter this world with the capacity and the potential for being perfectly happy, perfectly healthy, perfectly balanced. But in order for us to achieve that, we must not look externally, but we must look internally. I will repeat the declaration that states that God's desire for us is that we prosper and be in good health. And we know that each of us place emphasis on different aspects of that desire. But in essence, we can establish balance so that we can both prosper and be in good health. But of course, the quest for prosperity and for good health is often, how should I say this? It's often challenged by a number of external factors. Why? That's because so many persons believe in the views, the opinions, the authority of others, when the real authority is in our hands. It surrounds us. Because when we look at nature, we realize that it has everything that we need in order to both prosper and to experience good health. So, where have we gone wrong? I hope that you have now gotten your paper and pencil, because these are the words that somehow seem to play major roles in how we pursue our daily living and thus impact our sense of well-being. I repeat the definition of health before I give you these words. The definition of health, as described or as coined by the World Health Organization, it states that health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease. So those of us who think that we are disease-free because we've not gotten a diagnosis from our doctor as having an illness, does that really make us well? Let's look at the words that I have put together for you. Fear, discomfort, anxiety, stress, disease, discord, discontentment, and disagreement. These words are all tied to that definition, except they are the opposite of what that definition is putting forth. So, how is it that fear, stress, discomfort, disease, anxiety, discord, discontentment, and disagreement impact our life? Most of them are grounded in our sense of mental or psychological well-being, which basically is the mind element. The physical element, which is the body, basically is the carrier. And so when our minds are not in the right place, not in balance, our bodies manifest the results. I say it again. When our minds are not in balance, our bodies manifest the results or the impact. And then the spiritual element, which for some people seem to be the biggest element and for others the least important element. But together, these three components must integrate. They must be integrated. They must exist in balance. And they has no weight of imbalance. So imagine that your body is divided into three segments. So there is no 100% because then you would have to have a fraction of a fraction, which goes on into infinity. So if we stop at the 99%, because most people believe that none of us are perfect, but if we can reach that 99% where the mind takes 33%, the body takes 33%, and the spirit takes 33%, we have a balance. Now, mind, body, spirit. How is it that we become off balance? If you go back to our very initial segment, you will remember me mentioning how on our entrance into this world, those aspects of ourselves that we recognize that have been coined with a label, we believe that we came in as a clean slate. And since we came in as a clean slate, what we know, what we believe, what we practice have been passed on to us through our social system, hence the social component of health, mental, physical, and social well-being. Social well-being is very complex. It is the most powerful influencer of all. Why is that? Socialization occurs in the home, it occurs in the neighborhood, it occurs in the school, it occurs in the church, it occurs in your social systems, your networks, whether you're a part of an organization that supports one cause or the other. They all infiltrate our thought processes, hence they influence our beliefs and what we focus on. Hence, we are deemed creatures of habits. And it is those very habits combined or engineered or fueled by our beliefs that causes us to do a number of things that work against us, that throw us off balance, where at one point our minds are taking over whilst our bodies are being carried by the winds of our thought processes, and the spirit is grappling to keep us in balance and bring us back into balance. Yes, there is a dynamic process that is constantly at work, that is constantly seeking to reestablish that balance. When we're not in balance, we are guilty of neglecting one area or another area of our lives. And when we do that, there are deficits. There are things presenting themselves in the form of, remember that word list that I gave you? Discomfort, anxiety, disease, discord, disagreement, discontentment. Where do disagreements and discontentment and discord occur? In the social component. It can also occur in the spiritual component, because when you look at it, how many religions are there in this world? How many variations of Christian beliefs are there? They all influence our thought processes, our growth, our development, our level of comfort. It creates anxiety. It can even cause us to become depressed. Confusion. There are so many things that happen. They are all elements of health and well-being. Remember, mind, body, spirit. Physical, mental, social, mirror, a mirror image. We are often unaware. There are so many of us that have never given thought to this, that what I believe influences what I do, where I go, how I eat, how I dress, how I work. And then I develop routines which become habits. And sometimes these habits and routines are harmful to my health. They're harmful to my relationship with others. They're harmful to my relationship with God or my spirituality. Because we have been so well taught to think one way and move in one direction that sometimes we're like the blinkered horse in a race. To keep us focused, we don't pay attention to anything else that's trying to get through to us. And that is where we are guilty of neglect, sometimes by choice, other times by design. But by default, we are more inclined to listen to the masses. If the majority is doing it, then it must be right. But is that necessarily so? No. God has given each of us the same makeup of mind, body, spirit. Yes, there are numerous sources of information that bombards us via varied mediums, but we have the responsibility to partner with our Creator to make this mind, body, spirit existence in which we reside work to our benefit and the benefit of those around us. So, in the next segment, we will be looking at things that really impact our health, impact our social, our mental, and our physical health. I will give you a glimpse. Our focus is one of it. What is it that we are focusing on? Are we focusing on establishing balance between our physical, our mental, and our social? Or are we stressed? Many persons associate stress with uncontrolled outcomes or uncontrolled states. But you can be calm, but your body can still be experiencing a level of stress that can be negatively impacting your physical, your mental, and your spiritual well-being, and your social. Spiritual and social, we will bundle into one, because our spiritual well-being really seem to dominate how we relate with others. That along with our mental, because what we believe becomes our truths, and oftentimes we ostracize or we navigate closer to others because of shared belief, because of shared ideologies. But open-mindedness is always the way for establishing that balance. 30, 30, 30, 33, 33, 33. Okay? And then finally, habits. Habits of excess, habits of busyness, and habits of neglect or insufficiency in different aspects or areas of our lives. So, I am hoping that this segment have brought you closer to understanding your role, your responsibility, your God given right and gift, because life is precious. But are we embracing this precious gift that we have? Are we doing our best to know, understand, and care for ourselves? Because only when we are our own best caregiver that we can be of any value to our family, our friends, our community, and the world at large. I am Audrey Mellayne, your Mould Breaker Doc. This is the Mould Breaker Empowerment Forum, a educational forum that is a part of the Mould Breaker Empowerment and Education International Network, where the goal, vision, mission is to empower others to live their best life and live it now. So I invite you to join me again right here next week when I will continue the mind, body, spirit, health connection. I invite you to think on these things. Go back and look at the previous segments. They are short, but they were the building blocks towards where we are today and where we will go over the remaining 3 segments. Can you believe it? Only 3 more segments, and we would have completed this special series on focusing on you. I hope that when you would have come to the end of this series, that you would have found the knowledge, the will, and the determination to break every mold that confine you to dysfunctionality, that prevents you from being the best that you can be. Until next time, I say thank you for joining me. If you're in the Americas, I say happy American Independence. If you're in the Bahamas, I say happy Independence, July 10th. We thank you for following the Mould Breaker Empowerment Forum. You can access the collection here on my Facebook page, also on Twitter and on YouTube, whichever medium that works best for you. But I encourage you to like and share this information. It's not a popular message. It's an essential message. It is something that will benefit you. Longevity, good quality of life, happiness, all the things that we desire is within our reach. We just have to take charge, break those molds, and move forward. Thank you again for joining me.